There are moments in life when you feel like you've done everything you can. You've pushed, you've fought, you've prayed, but nothing is changing. And in those moments, it's easy to feel exhausted, defeated, like you're carrying a weight that's just too heavy. But what if I told you you don't have to fight this battle alone? What if I told you that the breakthrough you're waiting for isn't in your hands, but in His? Because today, right now, it's time to stop striving, stop stressing, stop trying to control everything, and start letting go. Not to give up, not to quit, but to trust that God is already fighting for you. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to force things to happen. You don't have to carry this burden on your own. All you need to do is step aside and let Him do what only He can. So if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, if you're on the verge of breaking, this is your moment. Because God is already moving, already working, already clearing the path ahead. And today, it's time to let Him fight for you. Let's talk about what this really means. Here's what you need to remember when you're struggling. Even in your darkest moments, when the weight of the world feels unbearable and the silence around you is deafening, you are not alone. I know it might not feel that way. I know there are times when you look around and wonder if anyone truly sees what you're going through. You put on a strong face, you keep moving forward, but inside you feel drained. You're exhausted from fighting battles no one knows about, and maybe, just maybe, you've started to believe that no one cares. But that's a lie. A dangerous, destructive lie that wants to keep you trapped in fear, in loneliness, in despair. Because the truth, the absolute, undeniable truth, is that you are never alone. Even in your pain, even in your doubt, even in the moments when you feel like you're drowning, God is with you. Right now, in this very moment, He is closer to you than the air in your lungs. You don't have to see Him to know He's there. You don't have to feel Him to trust that He's working. Because His presence isn't based on your emotions. It's a promise. And God's promises never fail. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. That means no matter how broken you feel, no matter how far you think you've fallen, no matter how much you've messed up, He is still with you. Think about that. The creator of the universe, the one who spoke the stars into existence, the one who holds all things together, He sees you, He knows your name, He knows your heart, He knows the struggles you're facing, the prayers you haven't even spoken out loud, the tears you've cried in the middle of the night. And He hasn't left. He hasn't turned His back. He hasn't forgotten you. I know what it feels like to question, to wonder why certain things are happening, to ask if God is really listening. Maybe you've prayed and nothing has changed. Maybe you've begged for relief and the struggle still remains. Maybe you've been waiting for an answer and all you've heard is silence, but silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. Sometimes the most powerful work God is doing in your life happens in the moments when you feel the most alone, because in those moments, He's strengthening you. He's shaping you. He's preparing you for something greater than you can see right now. Sometimes He removes the noise, the distractions, the things we thought we needed so that we can finally hear Him. And when you really start to listen, you'll hear something so powerful, so life-changing, that it will shift everything. You are loved unconditionally, without limits, without requirements. God's love for you isn't based on what you do, how strong you are, or how perfectly you handle life's challenges. His love is steady, unshakable, and it is always with you. So when you feel like no one understands, when you feel like no one is coming to help, when you feel like you are walking through the fire alone, remember this: God is there. He is walking beside you. He is fighting for you, and He will never, ever leave you. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You don't have to pretend to be strong when you feel like falling apart. Let Him be your strength. Let Him carry you when you can't take another step. Let Him remind you that even in your loneliest moments, you are never alone. Letting go is one of the hardest things you will ever do, because as humans, we crave control. We want to plan, predict, and shape every outcome. We hold on so tightly, thinking that if we just try harder, push more, or do everything perfectly, we can make things happen the way we want them to. But what if I told you that holding on isn't making you stronger? It's actually what's keeping you stuck. There's a part of you that believes surrender is weakness, that if you let go, you're giving up, that if you stop trying so hard, everything will fall apart. But that's not the truth. The truth is, surrender is one of the most powerful things you can do, because when you surrender, you're not giving up, you're giving it over, shifting the weight off your shoulders and into the hands of the one who can actually carry it. Think about how much energy you've spent worrying, stressing, and trying to control things that were never meant to be controlled by you. The sleepless nights, the anxiety, the frustration when things don't go the way you planned, the disappointment when no matter how hard you try, things still fall apart. It's exhausting, it's draining, and deep down, you know that no matter how hard you try, you are not in control of everything, but God is, and He's asking you to trust Him, to release your grip, to stop carrying what was never yours to carry. Because the moment you surrender, you make room for Him to move in ways you could never imagine. Think about a clenched fist. When your hands are closed tightly, holding on to control, nothing new can come in. But when you open your hands, when you let go, you make space for God to place something better in them. Surrender isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the one thing that changes everything. Trusting that God's plan is greater than yours. Trusting that even when you don't understand, He is working. Trusting that even when the road ahead is uncertain, He is guiding your steps. This doesn't mean life will be easy. It doesn't mean you won't face struggles, but it does mean you won't have to face them alone. It means that instead of carrying your burdens, you release them. Instead of overthinking, you rest in His promises. Instead of trying to force outcomes, you allow Him to lead. And when you do this, when you truly surrender, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. The kind of peace that doesn't make sense. The kind of peace that remains even when things around you are chaotic. The kind of peace that only comes when you finally stop fighting against the process and start trusting the one who is in control. So whatever it is you've been holding on to, whether it's fear, worry, a broken relationship, an unanswered prayer, or something you've been desperately trying to fix, release it. Surrender it, let go, not because you're weak, but because you are finally ready to trust that God is stronger. Let go, not because you're quitting, but because you are stepping into something greater than you could ever achieve on your own. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The moment you surrender is the moment you open yourself to a life of freedom, a life of faith, a life where you no longer carry burdens that aren't yours to carry. And when you finally let go, you will see God was always holding you. There are moments in life when everything feels like a battle. You push forward, you fight through the struggles, you do everything in your power to make things right, but no matter what you do, the obstacles keep coming. It feels like the odds are stacked against you, like every step forward is met with resistance, like you are constantly in survival mode, trying to keep everything from falling apart. And after a while, it gets exhausting. But here's what you need to know. This battle you're fighting is not yours to win. It never was. Because the victory has already been secured. The battle is already won. I know that's hard to believe when everything around you feels like a struggle, when doors keep closing, when prayers seem unanswered, when the weight of life feels unbearable. It's easy to think you have to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep trying to force your way through. But what if I told you that the very thing you're fighting so hard for is already taken care of, that the outcome is already determined, and you don't have to wear yourself out trying to fix what God has already finished? This is where faith comes in. Faith isn't about ignoring reality. It's about seeing beyond it. It's about understanding that just because you can't see the victory yet, doesn't mean it's not already yours. It's about knowing that even when you don't feel like anything is changing, God is still moving. Think about this. When you're in the middle of a battle, all you see is the fight, the struggle, the obstacles. But God sees the whole picture. He sees where you are, where you're going, and most importantly, where He's already made a way for you. What looks impossible to you is already done in His hands. And that's why you don't have to keep fighting the way you have been. You don't have to wear yourself out trying to make things happen on your own. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to figure everything out. Because the moment you shift your mindset from, I have to fix this, to God has already won this, everything changes. That doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you fight differently. It means you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the one who controls it all. It means you stop living in fear and start standing in faith, because the battle isn't yours, it belongs to God, and He never loses. Think about the times you've felt defeated, the moments when you thought it was over, the seasons where you couldn't see a way forward, and yet here you are. You made it through things you once thought you wouldn't survive. Not because you were strong enough, but because God carried you through. And He's going to do it again. Whatever you're facing right now, no matter how overwhelming it feels, no matter how impossible it looks, this is not the end of your story. God is still writing. He is still moving. He is still fighting on your behalf. So stop believing the lie that you have to do this on your own. Stop carrying burdens that were never meant for you. Stop thinking that the outcome depends on your effort alone. Because when you walk in faith, when you trust that the battle is already won, you don't just find peace, you find victory. This is not where you break. This is not where you give up. This is where you stand firm. This is where you stop fighting the wrong way and start believing the right way. Because when God fights for you, there is only one outcome. You win. There's something incredible that happens when you stop trying to control everything and start believing that God is in control. It's not just about feeling hopeful. It's about activating something powerful in your life, because faith isn't just a concept and it's not just a feeling. Faith is a force. It's a decision. It's a choice to believe that even when things don't make sense, even when the road ahead is unclear, even when everything around you is screaming impossible, God is still working. And when you choose faith, when you let go of fear and start trusting, you open the door for miracles. You see, miracles don't happen in comfort zones. They don't show up when everything is perfect and predictable. Miracles happen in the unknown, in the waiting, in the moments when you have nothing left but faith. That's where God moves. That's where the impossible becomes possible. But here's the hard part. Faith requires you to trust before you see. It requires you to believe before the breakthrough happens. It requires you to step out, to let go of control, to say, God, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know you will. Think about the times in your life when you were faced with something that felt impossible. Maybe it was a situation that seemed hopeless, a dream that felt too far away, a problem that looked too big to overcome. And then, out of nowhere, a door opened. A way was made. Something shifted. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was God moving. That was your faith unlocking something bigger than you could have imagined. The truth is, so many of us miss our miracles because we stop believing too soon. We pray, we hope, we wait, but when things don't change right away, we start doubting. We start thinking, maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe I should just settle. But what if your breakthrough is right around the corner? What if the miracle you've been waiting for is already in motion and all you need to do is keep believing? Because that's what faith does. It keeps going when nothing makes sense. It keeps trusting when the answers haven't come yet. It keeps declaring victory when the battle is still raging. And in that persistence, in that unwavering trust, God moves. But here's what you have to understand. Faith isn't passive. It's not about just sitting back and hoping for the best. It's about taking action. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. It's about waking up every day and choosing to believe. It's about speaking life over your situation, even when it feels dead. It's about standing firm on God's promises, even when everything around you is shaking. And when you do that, when you activate your faith, miracles begin to unfold. The doors that were closed begin to open. The obstacles that seemed immovable begin to shift. The things that once held you back begin to break, not because you forced it, but because you believed for it. So don't let doubt steal what God has already planned for you. Don't let fear keep you from stepping into the blessing that's waiting on the other side of your faith. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to see the full picture. You just have to believe. Because when you truly trust that God is working, even in the unseen, even in the waiting, your faith activates something greater than you could ever imagine. And that's when miracles happen. There's a moment in every person's life when they have to make a decision to stop living in fear, a decision to stop doubting, a decision to stop letting circumstances define what's possible, and instead to start believing that something greater is ahead. You see, God has already prepared the victory for you. He's already made the way. But the question is, are you ready to step into it? Because the truth is, you can't receive what God has for you if you keep looking back. You can't move forward if you're still clinging to the past. You can't step into the life He's calling you to if you're still holding on to everything that's behind you. And I know that's not easy. Letting go isn't just about walking away from something. It's about trusting that what's ahead is greater than what you're leaving behind. It's about knowing that even when you don't have all the answers, even when you don't know what's next, God does. And if He's calling you forward, it means He has something better. But here's the problem. So many of us get stuck in what was. We replay past mistakes, past failures, past disappointments. We hold on to old wounds, old fears, old versions of ourselves. And instead of stepping into what God has for us, we stay trapped in what's already gone. But listen, your past does not define you. Your failures do not define you. Your struggles do not define you. And just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean it never will. God is not looking at where you've been. He's looking at where He's taking you. And if you keep focusing on the past, you will miss what He's doing right now. You will miss the opportunities, the blessings, the miracles that are unfolding right in front of you. That's why it's time to shift. It's time to stop carrying what's no longer meant for you. It's time to stop letting fear dictate your future. It's time to stop thinking that your best days are behind you, because they're not. The best is yet to come. And the moment you start believing that, the moment you stop looking back and start stepping forward in faith, everything changes. You start seeing doors open that you never thought possible. You start experiencing peace that doesn't even make sense. You start walking in confidence. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you know that God does. And here's the most powerful thing. When you make that decision, when you truly let go and trust God with what's ahead, you stop striving. You stop forcing. You stop feeling like you have to make everything happen on your own. And instead, you step into the flow of His plan. That's when breakthroughs happen. That's when the right opportunities, the right people, the right moments begin to align, not because you fought for them, but because you had the faith to receive them. So right now, ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What fear? What doubt? What excuse? And is it worth missing what God has in store for me? Because the moment you stop holding yourself back, the moment you start believing that what's ahead is greater than what's behind, you will step into the life God created you for. And when you do, when you finally step forward in faith, you will realize that everything you've been praying for, everything you've been waiting for, has been waiting for you to let go and trust that God is leading you exactly where you're meant to be.